From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call a roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard. Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez. Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Maggart is delayed this morning. He'll be here shortly. He's stuck in traffic in some detour someplace. I'm sure it's through the fog or maybe something, I don't know. He'll be here shortly. So welcome to the Tuesday, January 12, 2016 meeting. In the back of the room, there are some agendas for you to pick up and follow along as we trudge through this. You can match us and watch us and see how it goes. We'll begin this morning's meeting with a flag salute led by our own Sheriff, Donna Youngblood. Following the flag salute, please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer.
Please stand, place your hand over your heart. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Morning, Ms. Maggart. We'll begin today with the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the board or public wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is required by any member of the public or board member, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its listed sequence. At this time, I will read the consent agenda items, and any member of the public or board member can let me know if there's something you'd like to have removed prior to the vote. So going through the agenda, we will talk consent agendas number item 3, 4, and 7 under public requests, appointments, and clerk of the board. Under employees training resource, numbers 8 and 10. Under probation, numbers 11 and 12. Public health services, 13. Veteran Services Department, item number 15. Does any member of the public wish to have any of these items pulled from the consent agenda? Bring it back to the board. We're looking for a vote.
Second.
All in favor? Cast your vote.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. We'll bring us to resolution proclamations. We have two of them this morning. The first one is to resolution honoring 4th District Supervisor Dave Couch for his numerous accomplishments as 2015 Chairman of the Board of Supervisors. I'll be doing the presentation for that, but I'm looking for a board member to make a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to proclaim one of our colleagues, supervisor from the 4th District, and thank him for what he's done the past year. It started off as a really interesting year, because if you remember correctly, last year at the State of the County, when Supervisor Couch was up there trying to impersonate a flagpole, because we had no flag. Yeah. Fortunately, after that, things skyrocketed in the right direction, and it was a very significant year. As a matter of fact, I would say, Supervisor Couch, that it was a watershed year. I've said that before, and I'll say that again. I think we have made some significant decisions that have had serious or dramatic impact on our county. Just to list a couple of them, the budget we passed the difficulties with the budget. Somehow we managed to balance that. His landmark oil and gas permitting process, the Indian Wells Valley land use plan, 3 departmental reorganizations, the process of transferring KMC into an independent unit. All that has been done, and Dave, it was your leadership and your chairmanship that was key in our ability to do that. That's all fine and dandy, and that was significant. But what I need to say is that what I remember most about last year was when we did the land use management plan. I thought that was a significant event for many reasons, but one of my biggest takeaways was the day we went up to Ridgecrest, brought this board up to Ridgecrest, and spent 7 hours in front of the public. I know all of us, each of us, vividly remember that. Yeah. I also remember after that, 5 hours, or it was either after or before, we had some meetings here where we were talking about that. And then we had another hour when we went and approved it. And the reason I bring that up is because we didn't have to do that. Chairman Couch insisted we do that, and he brought that to the forefront of public discussion because of his deference to the respect of the public process. I thought it was a very emotional deal. It would have been significant after effects had not Chairman Couch allowed the process to completely vet itself and to completely give the public every opportunity to comment and to give their concerns and voice their opinions about a very difficult decision. Since I've been in this board, I have recognized from each of my predecessors their commitment to the public process. And that's what I respect most about this board, is that we recognize that we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it's one of the the things that I most respect. And it was clear with Supervisor Couch and how he managed that whole process, those 7-hour meetings, those 5-hour meetings, is that he respected the fact that this isn't the military, this is a public process, and the public has a right to have a voice, and that voice must be heard. So Dave, when I look back on last year, I look at a lot of watershed events, but what I take most is your personal commitment to the public process and your deference to your constituents, and it's because of people like you that make this county so great. So thanks a lot. And I give you the microphone.
Putting you in charge of my reelection campaign.
Yeah, forget it. That's for you. A couple words.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And just to the board members, it was an honor to serve as the chairman of the board, and I appreciate all the support that you gave me during that year. And it was equally an honor to get to know the staff better and work with them on a daily basis. Kathy, Terry, and John especially, because you're the ones that the chair works most closely with. But all the staff, I came to realize even more so how hard they work and how diligent they are and what a good job they do on behalf of the citizens of Kern County. So thank you for this, Mick. I appreciate the kind words, but we don't do anything alone. We do it all as a team, and I really appreciate today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Okay, I'm exhausted. That brings us to item number 2, resolution honoring Elizabeth Gong, Kern County Probation Department, retirement with 32 years of dedicated service to Kern County. Supervisor Scrivener.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. It's a great honor for me and a privilege to get to present this resolution honoring and commending Elizabeth B. Gong upon her retirement with 32 years of service to the County of Kern. We have our probation chief, T.R. Miracle, with us as well. I know he's going to want to say a few words, but Beth, if you would just come on up, and I'll go ahead and read this proclamation, and we'll give T.R. an opportunity to speak, and I'm sure that you have some words for us as well. Elizabeth B. Gong began her career with the Kern County Probation Department on October 1st, 1983, as a group counselor at the Kern Youth Facility. She served 2 years in this classification and subsequently was promoted to the position of Deputy Probation Officer on October 1st, 1985. During the initial years of her career, Ms. Gong worked as a custody intake officer processing newly arrested juvenile offenders and youth detained by order of the juvenile court. She later served as an investigations officer, completing formal pre-sentencing reports for Superior Court in both the juvenile and adult division. Mrs. Gong was regarded as an expert at analyzing and preparing complicated sentencing reports, and her work was often used as training examples for new officers to emulate. In 1983, Mrs. Gong was transferred to the prevention unit where she worked with at-risk youth on the campus of Bakersfield High School. Her outgoing personality enabled her to divert many youth from entering the criminal justice system and make positive changes in their lives. On July 19, 1997, Mrs. Gong was promoted to Deputy Probation Officer 3 and then to Probation Supervisor on September 9, 2000. During her time as a supervisor, she worked diligently to improve officer safety, as well as increase educational programming for youth offenders. Throughout her career, she was recognized for her ability to network with other agencies and build strong relationships with probationers and their families, encouraging them to be successful and productive. And I met her when I was on the city council, and we were working on graffiti in a task force. On April 6, 2002, Mrs. Gong was promoted to Assistant Divisions Director and elevated again on October 2, 2004 to Probation Division Director, where she excelled in managing the 3 departments' juvenile detention facilities, Juvenile Hall, Camp Irwin-Owen, and Kern Crossroads facility until her retirement. And Mrs. Gong's dedication to her profession and commitment to serving the public has earned her respect and admiration of her peers and colleagues. Her many contributions to the probation department will be greatly missed, and she is wished the best in her future endeavors. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, does hereby honor and commend Elizabeth B. Gong upon her retirement with 30 years of dedicated service to the County of Kern. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is signed by all 5 members of the board.
Thank you so much.
You too. Come on up here.
Thank you, Supervisor Scrivener, Chairman, members of the board. We're here to honor Beth Gong, her career. As Supervisor Scrivener said, over 32 years of dedicated service to the probation department. As was said, she started as a group counselor in the Kern Youth Facility in 1983, so you know you've been around a while when the title and the institution no longer exists. But throughout her career, she promoted all the way up. She was actually a manager for over, I think, just about 14 years, and she was in charge of our juvenile services, our juvenile hall, our Camp Owens, and our Kern Crossroad facility. So she had a career that spanned many, many areas, and wherever she went, she status quo was never good enough for her. She always wanted to improve things and make things better. When I was looking through her file, I found many letters from different agencies which show the impact that she's had, from the district attorney's office, the Kern High School District, the grand jury, and many others. Just the impact that she's had in our community. And when I think of Beth, the one word that comes to my mind is always energy. She's always endless energy, always working. And when I was going through her file, I must have seen the word energy about 100 times, I think. And that energy is still going, because even though she's quote unquote retired, you know, she's now working for the BSCC. So Supervisor Perez, she'll still be under your supervision to an extent. But mostly I just want to thank Beth for all that she's done for the department. It's an incredible career, 32 years, and we wish her the very best. And the managers want to present her with her retirement badge, which we have here. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tara.
Come on up, Beth.
Good morning, Chairman Gleason and board members. I'd first like to take the opportunity to thank you for this recognition. It's very humbling and very much appreciated. Next, I'd like to recognize my family that's here today. My husband, Greg Gong, daughters Jillian Shelton and Danielle Gong, and my sister who is here visiting from Florida, Diana Sims. And of course, all my coworkers and friends that have shown up today. Lastly, I'd like to thank Chief Miracle, Deputy Chief Lemon, my coworkers, for being here as well. Well, when I first started with the department, I remember the exact day, October 1st, 1983. I showed up as a group counselor in a dress and pumps. And so for those of you that have ever been to any of our facilities, that's really not the uniform. I mean, it was Levi's and t-shirts then. It's a little bit more formal now, but a dress and pumps was definitely the wrong way to go. And I did that because I was thinking that I'm a group counselor. I'm going to be working with kids, and I'm going to counsel them and make them better. And it wasn't too long after that I realized that, yes, I had the wrong uniform, but I really did have that philosophy that that's what I wanted to do, to help the kids. So seemingly naive then, later working with kids and then adults, and sometimes the adults were kids. The purpose of our job and what myself and our coworkers were trying to do was really provide them the incentive and the motivation to better their lives. As I changed different positions working at Bakersfield High School in the juvenile investigation and adult investigation units, prevention, and then in a management position, what I found is that philosophy is still alive and well today. That's our goal, that's our mission, and the department really does a good job in trying to make that happen. I've been very fortunate that TR, Kathy, and a few of the other chiefs, I had 6 different chiefs in all throughout my career, gave me the flexibility to apply the department's mission with my own style, using those taught to me by one of our chiefs, John Roberts. I'm not sure if any of you had the opportunity to know or work with John. And then Shay Mulliner, who's a current director and a good friend to me and here today. John's mantra was, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. I know it sounds so simple, and it should be very simple in the job that we're tasked to do every day, but with the high-risk offenders that we're working with and the families that we work with every day, it's sometimes hard to do that. And so basically what our mission is to set the example and to rise above all the frustrations that we had to live with in doing our job. Shay was a bit more progressive. She coined that phrase, coach, mentor, train. I've used that phrase in the positions I've held since I've known her, just because it really symbolizes what it is that we as administrators and we as probation staff need to do with our coworkers and with our clients. The one thing that's especially important about that is I've not only taken that with me to statewide meetings with CAPIA and CAPSA, so that phrase has really kind of gone a little bit global in California, so thanks, Shay, for that. And again, it was our job, or is our job, to facilitate that motivation and the guiding principles in a real positive way to help our clients. Another group of people I'd like to acknowledge is the team of staff at the facilities I last worked with. When you work on the probation field services side of the department, you're more out in the community. When you work in the institutions, you're basically in a fishbowl, and you're working with staff and kids and really trying to resonate, change within them. The people, Pat, Eric, Jody, Jeff, Megan, Karen, Jerry, Chili, and Jill were great forces with me at Camp Owen. Teresa, Marion, and Nicole at Juvenile Hall, and of course Tina and Jim Albitri at Crossroads. These are the people, and the camaraderie which we had together was one of just respect, honesty, and teamwork. The approaches were amazing, and I'm so thankful for those. And fortunately, those qualities were able to funnel down to the kids in the facilities, and I think that we were able to make some really good changes while I was there. Lastly, it's important for me to know for me to leave my devoted service with the county confident that the leadership and that it's heading in a responsible and effective direction. There's been some difficulties over these last, 5 years or so in this area, but TR has really set forth a strategy and developed a role he should be proud of, because I know I am. Finally, to Kathy Lemon. Also, she's a very good friend, and she's been my supervisor these last 6 years. She is strong. She sets high standards for everybody that works with her. She possesses an incredible reserve and also has been a great example for those that work with her. I have great respect for her, and am confident that she, Brandon, and TR will move the department progressively forward and meet the incredible demands they have as leaders of this department. My future continues to allow me to see the work of others, especially in the probation arena. I've now put myself in a position where I can use all that I've learned in Kern on a bigger scale as a field representative for the Board of State and Community Corrections. I am seeing firsthand how good Kern presents with the facilities, programs, and staff. So board members, you should be proud of this probation department and the job that they do every day, because I'm really proud of the department. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gong. We're proud of our department, and we're proud of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brings us to item 5, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on the agenda, but under the jurisdiction of this board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. The board may also take action to direct the staff to place a matter of business on future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes, and we invite the public to present any public presentations at the present time. Anybody in the public? Please state your name and go for it.
Chairman Gleason, members of the board, I'm joined by our Sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, this morning. Last week, Supervisor Maggard made a referral, an informal referral to staff to work on a project to help our seniors with preparing for El Nino. So staff met with the CAO's office, sheriff, fire department, and we came up with a plan for this Saturday that we will be handing out sandbags. We will actually be filling sandbags to help our seniors out. The sheriff's department and the fire department will be at our fire department headquarters from 10 to 12, and we'll also be in Lamont handing out sandbags to make sure our seniors are prepared for this event. So we have plenty of staff set up, and sandbags have been ordered and on the way, and we'll be ready to go. I would like to take this time to also state that as we finish up this preparedness activities, the sheriff and fire departments will be transitioning to our emergency response mode. El Nino's here. We've seen the rains in the last few weeks, and these storms will continue to build on the rain that's already occurred. It's now time for your first responders to be ready. I know in the fire department we're doing some training. We've purchased some equipment to deal with swiftwater rescues in our communities that will be impacted by these severe storms. So we are ready. We'll be helping our seniors, and hopefully we get through this El Nino year with no problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief, can I ask you a question? I was up in Kern River Valley last night, and a public commented me a couple times saying how quickly the sandbags went and how well they were received. Do we have any effort to get those sandbags up to the Kern River Valley?
We have been providing sandbags, Chairman Gleason, and sand throughout the county, and yes, they are a very hot ticket item. Right. I can assure you that the public has taken the message to be prepared, and we continually order sandbags. And the roads department, I can't say enough for the help that the roads department has in providing sand. But when we did the first sandbag Saturday, there was like 200 people at our fire department headquarters at 7 o'clock in the morning, even though we didn't start work until 10 o'clock. And sand and sandbags do go quick, but we continue to work through to make sure that our citizens are prepared.
So we're going to get more sandbags up the KIV?
Yes.
Outstanding, Chief. Thank you very much. Mr. Maggart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to thank you both and all the folks that work with you because of the quick response that you've given to this. What I want to highlight is that the core belief, the core attitude of the wonderful people that work for the County of Kern is that they are servants and they want to help people. And this is evidence of how quickly you went from 0 to full speed to take care of that. And I'm just grateful for it. So thank you and kudos to the great people that work for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggart, for bringing that to our attention. Anything else for public presentations? Okay, moving along. Board member announcements or reports. Mr. Couch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The mountain communities of Fraser Park and Lake of the Woods, Pinyon Pines, almost all the way over to Pine Mountain Club, are experiencing, I'll just say, issues with out-of-county visitors coming to see the snow and creating havoc, basically, along Fraser Mountain Park Road and through that entire area. Very disrespectful of people's private property rights and parking unsafely. People are at risk, and emergency vehicles as well having potential issues getting in and out. So I'm just going to, I don't need a referral or anything. I just want to give you that information, Mr. Allen, and make sure ask you to follow up with our Sheriff's Department, the CHP, probably the Forest Service as well. And if our office can assist you in any way, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Couch. That brings us to item number 9 under Employees Training Resources, proposed retroactive agreement with La Cooperativa Campesina de California for a Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act Dislocated Agricultural Worker Program to provide employment and training services in energy efficiency and renewable energy from October 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2016 in amount not to exceed $172,267. Appropriation of unanticipated revenue in the amount of $172,267 in Budget Unit 8907, and appropriation of unanticipated revenue in the amount of $90,750 in Budget Unit 5923. Ms. Hitchcock.
Good morning, Chairman Gleason, members of the board. The item before you is a request for retroactive approval of an agreement with La Cooperativa Campesina de California. Employers Training Resource is one of 5 partner agencies with La Cooperativa providing employment and training services to California's rural communities. The term of this agreement is October 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2016 in the amount of $172,267. The funding is to provide training services to eligible dislocated agricultural workers in order to develop their skills so that they can compete for new and future job opportunities in the energy efficiency and renewable energy industry. Contract negotiations between the funding source, the California Employment Development Department, and La Cooperativa delayed ETR's ability to seek approval prior to today's board meeting. This grant is an opportunity for us to provide additional services to our farm workers who have been impacted by the drought, and we are continuing to seek additional funding in order to support that effort. Therefore, it is recommended that your board approve the attached retroactive agreement with La Cooperativa Campesina de California for a dislocated agricultural worker program, energy efficiency and renewable energy from October 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2016 in an amount not to exceed $172,267, and authorize the chairman to sign and approve the appropriation of unanticipated revenue in Budget Unit 8907 in the amount of $172,267, and approve the subsequent appropriation of unanticipated revenue in Budget Unit 5923 in the amount of $90,750, and authorize the auditor controller to process the specified budgetary adjustments and accounting transactions.
Thank you, Ms. Hitchcock.
Thank you.
Open up for public comment and review. Anyone from the public wishing to comment? Public hearing is closed. We'll open up to bring it back to the board for comment consideration.
Motion on staff's recommendation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Hitchcock. This brings us to item number 14 under Public Health Services. Public hearing to consider enacted proposed ordinances amending Kern County's Ordinance Code Chapters 8.04 to 1, update definitions consistent with California Health and Safety Code, 2, amend Kern County Ordinance Code Chapter 8.58 to establish the rescore inspection fee to be established by uncodified ordinance, 3, repeal Ordinance G 8585, and 4, enact a new uncodified ordinance establishing the environmental health permit and service fees for each establishment, business, activity, or service pursuant to Kern County Ordinance Code Sections 8.04090, 8.04120, and 8.60. Ms. Constantine.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm joined by Bryn Kerrigan, the Deputy Director of Public Health. The proposal in front of you this morning is to accomplish two main objectives within the environmental health fee ordinance. The first objective is to clean up the uncodified portion of the fee ordinance and recategorize fees into appropriate categories so that it's easier for our customers and our employees to access. For example, we had placed some fees within the actual body of the ordinance and not in the uncodified fee ordinance, so it became difficult to find the appropriate fee. We're also removing some old definitions, removing, for example, a fee for a lost permit that we don't need to charge for, and combining some definitions. The second objective is to update some of our services, some of the definitions, and a few of the fees to be consistent with changes in state law in the Health and Safety Code. Specifically, the Health and Safety Code has changed recently, which then dictate that we must change the local fee ordinance. In addition, there are some changes, one change, excuse me, that is being proposed in our hazardous materials program to specifically address the state's request to further enhance our oversight of those facilities that treat hazardous waste. So I'm going to ask Ms. Kerrigan to briefly talk about some of the additional changes that are going to be made.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The proposed changes to Chapter 8.04 consist of term definition updates consistent with California Health and Safety Code and removal of the division's extended service rate, which is proposed to be added to the division's fee schedule. The proposed change to Chapter 8.58 consists of adding language to indicate the fee for a food facility rescore inspection be established by uncodified ordinance. As Mr. Constantine indicated, much of the proposed changes to the uncodified ordinance consist of cleanup and category consolidation. However, the division is proposing to create 4 new fee categories within this request. The proposed additional categories include the establishment of fees for cottage food permits and annual registrations, service fees for hazardous waste tiered treatment, annual permit fees for reoccurring community events, and a service fee for minor modifications to underground storage tanks. The establishment of fees for cottage food permits and annual registrations is consistent with Section 1143652D and 1143652C of California Retail Food Code, which requires cottage food operators to complete an annual registration and allows the division to inspect operators up to once per year. This program was originally implemented in January 2013 and originally only required a one-time registration, and the division used the hourly rate for inspections until we could determine the actual cost of this program. The establishment of fees related to the tiered treatment program are the result of the Certified Unified Program Agency, which we refer to as CUPA, program review of 2012. During this review, the division was required to perform more in-depth inspections of these facilities that treat the hazardous waste they generate. As a result, the division created categories to capture the time associated with the different tiers within this program. The division evaluated the last 3 years of cost data and is proposing a fee for those facilities that will cover the actual costs associated with servicing these facilities.
Within this proposal, the division is proposing to create a new category for fees associated with the review and inspection of underground storage tank modifications. Currently, the division charges a flat fee for any modifications to underground storage tanks. Through a review of the time associated with this service, we have found that there are some more minor modifications that do not require such an intensive review. Given this, we are proposing to actually adopt a reduced fee for these minor modifications. Lastly, the division is proposing to add 2 new categories associated with community event permits. The current ordinance has a fee for a one-time event permit, which includes 1 inspection. Over the past couple of years, the division has experienced an increase in recurring events under a single operator and is requesting to create a permit for a single operator multiple events spanning over a 6-month period, which will receive 1 inspection. This category will have the same fee associated as the one-time event permit, given they will receive the same level of service. This proposal also includes a request to establish a fee for a single operator multiple recurring events that span over a 1-year period. This category will have a slightly higher fee than the 6-month permit, as it will receive a higher level of service consisting of 2 routine inspections during the term of the permit. We have determined there is a need to do 2 inspections over the annual period, as we've experienced a number of food safety complaints that an additional inspection would likely prevent. A formal letter has been sent to all of the tiered treatment facilities and cottage food operators, informing them of our proposal with no opposition received. The division met with all of the affected community event operators with no opposition received. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Bryn. I'll open that up to the public for comment. Anyone in the public for comment? I see no comment. Bring back to the board for consideration and comment.
I'll move the staff's recommendation.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you, Mr. Constantine. That will bring us to the end of our meeting. I need a motion to adjourn to closed session where we will consider items 16, which was withdrawn, 17, 18, 19, 20, and all the way up to 25.
So moved.